Greetings and welcome, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, to Black World TV, the new black media, your black and intelligent news source. Alright, brothers and sisters, we're going to get right into this broadcast. Today's broadcast is about Fox Soul, the YouTube digital television network. Just like the rest of us here out in the new black media, we are all digital television networks. But nonetheless, Fox Soul is a new live and interactive streaming channel dedicated to the African American viewer. The program's aim is to celebrate black culture and deal with real topics, is what the program says. They also claim that their motto is "Our voice, our truth." And I submit to you that all of those have turned out to be lies. We have found out that Fox Soul, that is targeted towards African Americans or Native Black Americans, Fox Soul is targeted towards African Americans, but is certainly not ran by African Americans. It's certainly not focused on African American issues coming from an African American's perspective. If it was, they wouldn't have pulled the stunt that they just pulled this past week. What is that? Well, they reneged, and they did it very tasteless, very classless. They did it in front of your face and mine too. And this is why I suggest that we cancel Fox Soul before it even gets started. Hashtag cancel Fox Soul. So here it is. Fox Soul had agreed to air Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's speech, which was titled Criterion. You would think that that has absolutely nothing to do with their fears. But nonetheless, you had imbeciles such as Jake Tapper, who decided to send out a tweet about our Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, stating that how dare Fox Soul air this man's words. And he then claimed that Honorable Louis Farrakhan is an anti-Semite and that he has anti-LGBTQ views and that he's a misogynist. And with these claims, they should not air Louis Farrakhan on their platform. And then there were others who also did the same thing. They came out crying, whining like little babies, like little children about our Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Again, stating that he's anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, and that he's misogynist. And I'd like to submit to you, black family, that when they make these type of claims, we need to call them to the carpet. We need to ask them specifically what it is that our Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that makes him anti-Semitic. Because I like to put context into the things that he has mentioned. Because after all, our Honorable Louis Farrakhan speaks the truth all the time. Not some of the time, all the time. And therefore, I'd like to know specifically what it is that you claim that our Honorable Louis Farrakhan, why he's anti-Semitic. Secondly, for the anti-LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ claim, I'd like to also ask you specifically what it is that he has said that makes him so. So we could put his words and his statements in context. We need to have a real dialogue, not these simpletons like Jake Tapper and others who come forward and make these claims. We can't just let them get away with making claims just because you're white and you say so. That just doesn't cut it. So we need to know specifically what it is that makes our Honorable Louis Farrakhan an anti-Semitic and anti-LGBTQ, because as quiet as it's kept, there's no anti-Semitic to it when you're a black man, when you're a black woman, because after all, we are the original Semitic people of the earth. That's right, the black man and the black woman are the original Semitic people of the earth. Let that sink in for a minute or five. And so, Jake Tapper got his wake-up call from Ice Cube, who eloquently told Jake Tapper to, quote, shut your mouth, unquote, when you're talking and referring to our Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Shut your mouth. And so this Fox Soul that has actually revealed itself, and it's revealed some other things that black people should pay close attention to, and that is when a show calls itself Fox Soul, just because it's targeted to you, black man and black woman, doesn't mean it's ran by black people or that it is focused consciously on the behest and behalf of you. That's right, you have others who run these stations, and they dictate what they want you to hear and what they want you to see. And that's why we're not able to see and hear our Honorable Louis Farrakhan on Fox Soul TV, because they reneged. Their credibility is shot. They have no credibility. Again, hashtag cancel Fox Soul TV. So Fox Soul revealed themselves by calling themselves Fox Soul, targeting African Americans, but yet not targeting African Americans, because your target audience wanted to hear from our Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He had a message. He had a message that we all wanted to hear. And while we're on this subject, for those of you who claim he's anti-Semitic, that he's anti-LGBTQ, I've heard some of the black talking heads, some of the intellectuals, if you will, on platforms where they made statements that, well, there is a segment of black Jews that Louis Farrakhan offends. Well, there is a segment of black LGBTQ folk that Louis Farrakhan does offend. And I submit to you, who makes those claims, who dares fix your lips to make those silly claims, that before you are Semitic, before you are LGBTQ, RSTU, VWXYZ, or anything else, you are black first. Let me repeat that again. You are black first. So I submit to you, LGBTQ, that when you find things that offend you, let's not forget that there are plenty of offenses, really bad offenses, that gay white men have pulled on the black community. There are plenty that have been documented. And I'm not going to go through it here and now because that's not what this video is focused on. So while we're on it, Fox News, your whole station is owned, operated, and maintained by racists. Your platform has supported and invited and have had racists, vulgar racists on your program plenty of times, and I have been offended, highly offended, and yet you've had them on your program. Well, that's because you run it. So you see, with your racist programming, you can show racists on your program that I have to listen to, whether I get offended or not. But as soon as I want to hear someone black, someone who has influence in our country, you censor them. You violate their constitutional First Amendment rights. And you're treating me as a native black American as a child. And I have to tell you, I hate you for this. White media, I hate you for this. That's why I don't support you. And I would submit to my followers, to my listeners, anyone who is watching this video, to not only cancel Fox SoulTV, but also ignore and boycott their advertisers and sponsors. We have to do something about this. So, here it is, July 4th, 2020, the year of clear vision. And although you won't have our Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on your platform, I will be tuning in to the NOI.org channel first thing this morning to pick up on that speech. It's very important. As a native black American, it's very important. As a black person, period, it's very important that we hear his important message. We're in trying, dire times. So, I'm going to end this broadcast off here. But before I go, let me just say this. For those of you who keep saying, because all Black Lives Matter, we already got that message by stating Black Lives Matter. To add all Black Lives Matter, you are separating, dividing, and you're allowing the conquerors to carry out their job, divide and conquer. So I submit to you, stop saying, because all Black Lives Matter. We already know this just by our declaration that Black Lives Matter. This whole sexuality that you're adding to it is a total distraction and a travesty. This is Black World TV, the new black media. Hoping you like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next broadcast.